All right, we're back. Chris Mannix, Sergio Mora, different coasts again this week. Sergio is back in Los Angeles. I am in Boston. We're on Saturday night, Sergio. I saw something very cool. Fight night at Fenway Park. First time in nearly 70 years Fenway has hosted a fight card. I put a few pictures and videos up on my Instagram feed. It was awesome. So awesome. The ring was set up in the Grand Concourse, got a few thousand people in. Tommy O'Toole, now 14-0 after shutting out Vaughn Alexander, who was a late replacement in that fight. Kid is a future. I've been telling you, kid is a future. My guys, the Nolan brothers, doing good things with him. Mark DeLuca, doing good things with him. Probably see him in the rankings sometime soon. Sergio, you would have been big over there. I met a bunch of podcast listeners, saw some good fights, so I'll say something I haven't said in a long time. You were missed at Fenway Park on Saturday.
I was missed, but I wasn't paid. And you look tired, Chris Mannix. Anyone who can listen to this should watch Chris Mannix. He looks hungover. You look hungover, Chris Mannix. Oh yeah,
not hungover. Did partake in?
No. You look tired, and you partake.
I'm definitely tired.
Sergio,
I've been traveling all. Partook. I've been traveling all over the country the last few days. I was in Oklahoma, then in Boston. I got to go back to Indiana. Then I'm back in Los Angeles. Then God knows where else. We're in New York next week for the Richardson Hitchens George Kambosos fight. Next pod will be out on Friday. That's after we tape The Fighter and the Writer. You can watch all the podcast episodes, of course, on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you have a moment over there. The Fighter and the Writer is available on the DAZN YouTube page. The audio, of course, always on the Mannix and Mora feed. Subscribe there as well. All right, Sergio, we got a few things to get to. We're going to talk about a thrilling comeback win for Fabio Wardley, a pretty solid step-up win for Abdullah Mason, and another mega card that is being put together in Riyadh this summer. We're going to dive into all of that. But first, it was a disaster of a weekend, Sergio, for Keyshawn Davis, the now former 135-pound champion who lost his title on the scales on Friday, weighing in more than 4 pounds over the limit for his fight with Edwin De Los Santos. I talked to members of De Los Santos' team after the weigh-in, and let me tell you, they were furious about what took place there. One person told me they saw someone on Davis's team spraying him with water to make it look like he was struggling to make weight. They said Davis was dancing around, smiling the whole time. There were conversations throughout the day on Friday about moving forward with the fight, with Davis paying a 6-figure penalty. But ultimately, De Los Santos chose not to go through with the fight. Good for him, by the way. He looked drained at that weigh-in. And I have no doubt that if that fight went forward, he would have been badly knocked out. Instead, he gets his full purse. When you weigh in, and you know this, Sergio, you contractually have to be paid. And now he maybe gets a chance to fight for a vacant title of some sorts later this year. Now, a day after, Davis made things measurably worse. On the undercard of the show was Keyshawn's older brother, Kelvin. He faced someone named Nahir Albright, who Keyshawn narrowly beat in 2023, only to have the fight changed to a no contest after Davis tested positive for marijuana. Albright beats Kelvin Davis on the undercard of the show. In the locker room, Keyshawn and his younger brother, Keon, who also fought on the card, all three Davises were scheduled to fight, they went into Albright's locker room and jumped him. Albright said that Keyshawn headbutted him. He had a bump on his forehead that seemed to validate that after. Sergio, I want to play something, Sergio, that Tim Bradley said after the fight. Take a listen.
Get the best of you. You see when you don't control your anger, you see what happens? This type of stuff right here. The stock just plummeted to the floor. I was a Davis Brothers fan. I was. No, I'm Abdullah Mason 5 Brothers fans because the way they behave like true professionals.
So, Sergio, I'll put it to you. Did Keyshawn's stock plummet to the floor?
100%. It's a terrible look for Keyshawn Davis, who was a champion, who had so much going for him. He was going to have his hometown debut as a champion in Norfolk, Virginia. with his brothers on the undercard. I mean, everything was aligned for him to be the next star. I mean, he only has barely a dozen fights, 13 fights. He's already a champion. He's already ascending. I mean, he's a star in the making. And people on that side of the country, they really support their athletes. Allen Iverson comes from Virginia. I mean, so many great athletes come from Virginia, and he was going to be the next. And unfortunately, it's just a terrible look, man. Losing your title on the scale when you're 4 pounds overweight, you didn't even try. You didn't even try to make weight. I mean, look, I've been overweight in big fights, but I've always made the weight, man. I've been overweight 3 pounds with Mosley, came back. I made the weight. Wasn't a good performance, but I made the weight. My second fight with Vernon Forrest, I was overweight 2.5 pounds. Did the same thing. Something about a fighter where you agree, where you sign a contract, you have to make the weight. That's part of the negotiation. You have to make the weight. All right. And then the fight. That's why I always say it on our telecast. Making weight right is half the fight won. Keyshawn Davis didn't even try. He didn't even try, man. He let down his promoter, his fans, his family, and ultimately himself, man, because he won a championship, lost the championship. It's unforgiving, man. Stuff like this is unforgiving because it's so irresponsible. And if it happened once, it's going to happen again. He needs to go on a apology tour. He needs to do a lot, man. Keyshawn Davis needs to do a lot because he had everything given to him for him to be the next star, and he just slapped everyone in the face with this.
I'm trying to think of what Keyshawn could have done to make this past weekend any worse. I mean, lighting Scope Arena on fire is probably the only thing that could have made it worse for him. Because to your point, before this weekend, Keyshawn's stock was at its peak. He was ascending. 2 fights earlier, he goes ahead with a fight against Gustavo Lemos in Norfolk, Virginia. And that was a fight Lemos was way overweight coming in. You and I both talked about this. I didn't think he should have gone ahead with that fight. He did. He beat the hell out of Lemos in 2 rounds. Next fight, he dominates Dennis Baranchyk, wins his first world title. Big step forward. Looks like the sky is the limit for Keyshawn Davis. This wasn't 1 step back. This wasn't 2 steps back. This was 3, 4, 5 steps back. His reputation is in tatters. Like, not making the weight, not seeming to care about making the weight. That was bad. Then you have the incident after the fight where this guy, Nahir Albright, legit beats your brother, and you're in the locker room. However it started, don't be in this guy's locker room. Like, don't be approaching him after a fight like this. He lost. It was a majority decision, but he lost. You don't go after the guy that beat him in that manner. That was wild. And there was a second video, Sergio, because Albright's brother, understandably, was ticked off that, 2 guys were jumping his brother in the locker room. He gets into a Keyshawn, and Keyshawn's out there, and he's got his little kid with him. Like, his kid's in the stroller while Keyshawn is going at it with Albright's brother. It's just the whole thing, Sergio, the whole thing was just bonkers and such a terrible look for Keyshawn Davis. An embarrassing look. I can tell you.
It's embarrassing.
Top Rank Sergio is furious with Keyshawn Davis. Furious. Because they're the ones that got to pay out Edwin De Los Santos. They've got to pay him the 6 figures that he was going to get for that fight with nothing to show for it. Now you have Keyshawn sinking even lower by acting a fool after the fight. And the other point here, Sergio, Lou DiBella made this point on Twitter, and it's a good one. Keyshawn Davis loses out on $1 million check that he'll never get back. There's no recouping the money he lost in this fight. Now, he'll go into his next fight, not just coming off this incident, but also as a former champion. And because of these contracts, when you're a world champion, your money's up here. When you're not a world champion, your money gets dropped down here a little bit. So when you go into that next fight at 140 pounds, it is going to be for a purse that is substantially less than what you would have earned had you successfully defended your title against De Los Santos and moved up to 140, which you should have done professionally. I mean, if you had any doubts that Keyshawn was in the wrong every step of the way, apparently after all this shit went down with Albright, Terrence Crawford and Brian McIntyre, Keyshawn's trainer, went into Albright's locker room to apologize, to say they were sorry for the behavior of Keyshawn Davis. This was as embarrassing and humiliating a moment that Keyshawn Davis could possibly have faced.
And you forgot about the no contest ruling when he failed a drug test due to marijuana.
I said that at the top, yeah,
against,
without Albright, yeah.
against Albright. So all this has been, piling up. It's just piling up. So this is character on Keyshawn Davis's part. And I've seen this before. I mean, we've seen this plenty of times in boxing. This is a lack of character on his part. And no matter how talented he is, I mean, this is a man that won a silver medal. He's just so naturally gifted. He became a champion with a dozen fights. He's already beating guys on the top level, knocking them out. He had everything going for him. Now he just shot himself on both feet. This is one of those things that affects your reputation and it affects you going forward because people don't want to work with irresponsible athletes. They don't want to give them that opportunity. They don't want to give them that chance anymore because they're not reliable. Once you're not reliable on that top stage, you're gonna not only take a step back in pay, but in opportunities. They're not going to want to give you opportunities if you're going to squander them. This was supposed to be a red carpet rollout party in Norfolk, Virginia, right? One of their own coming in as a world champion. Not anymore, man. It was an embarrassing Saturday Night Lights live skit. You're telling me everything that went wrong, and I'm like, how did that happen? How did that happen? I go, you have to be kidding me. And then a fight, and then this, and then that. It's like they wanted to have the perfect storm of nonsense that could possibly happen, and they did it. Congratulations, but terrible look for not only him, his team, and everyone involved. And Bob Arum said it best. Bob Arum's been around a long time as a promoter. Even he was embarrassed for what happened. I mean, for him to travel all the way over there at 90 years old and have to put up with this nonsense, it's disgusting, man. It's a shame on Keyshawn Davis.
Keyshawn obviously had his talking points on Friday about missing weight where he kept saying, I outgrew the weight. Do you buy that as an excuse?
It doesn't matter. No, I don't buy it. This is look, I've been on that side. I could have lost my title on the scale, but I did the responsible thing. I signed up to fight at 154. I had to make 154 and it cost me. Same thing with the Shane Mosley fight. It was at 154. I've been on that side. You can make the weight if you want to. It's going to be harmful. It's going to be detrimental to your health, maybe, and maybe to your certainly to your performance. But you have to do it, man, because the show has to go on. You're a professional. You're a professional boxer. You signed a contract. You got to honor that contract. I say it all the time. Making weight right is half the fight won. And I don't know if when you hear me say that, this is what I meant by it. If you make the weight, then fighting's the easy part for professional boxers. That's the easiest thing for a fighter, especially as talented as Keyshawn Davis, just to fight. But to be in shape, to take camp seriously, to honor his responsibilities, his media, and making weight, all that has to do with him being a professional athlete. Fighting's the easy part, man. That's dessert for guys like Keyshawn Davis and so many others. That's just like, okay, throw me a bone. Everything else is work. Everything else is work, and this was part of the job, and he failed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when a guy weighs in 4-point-something pounds heavier, that tells me he's known for days, if not weeks, he wasn't making that weight. Probably at least days. So what Keyshawn should have done, what his team should have done, is gone to De Los Santos like on Tuesday or Wednesday and said, hey, I'm not going to make this weight. If you want to go forward with the fight, it's got to be at like 137 pounds. Maybe De Los Santos still would have balked at that because he wanted to win that world title. But De Los Santos has also been out of the ring for like 18 months. He wanted that payday. Like he wanted to get a check on fight night. I think De Los Santos would have gone for it. Instead, they tried to make a mockery of the entire event and just assumed that De Los Santos was so money hungry that he would go for it. If you sweeten the pot by $100,000 or whatever it would have been, that he would have gone for it. Good for De Los Santos. Good for Samson Lukowicz, his manager/promoter, like for pulling the plug on this. De Los Santos still gets his full check, doesn't have to fight that fight, and it makes Keyshawn look absolutely terrible for having it play out like that. I think Keyshawn, I agree with you, got to go on like an apology tour of some sorts. I doubt we see that happen. And then next, I guess you could fight Albright again. Like, it was a no contest the last time, and it was a close fight. Like, Keyshawn won, but it was a majority decision that he won that night. So maybe you fight Albright, make it a family affair, go back to Norfolk, apologize to your fan base. I don't know, but there's got to be something there because Keyshawn's stock, to Tim's point and to your point, right down at the bottom. On the flip side of that, Sergio, The stock of Fabio Wardley, sky high at the moment. Last show, and we give credit here, you said to watch out for Justice.
Excuse me, say it again. Say it again. What would you say right now?
I'm going to give you credit.
Thank you.
Give you credit. Last show, you said to watch out for Justice Huni. You said he's got a style that could give Wardley fits. You were right. For the better part of 10 rounds, Huni dominated this fight. Pillar to post. Beat him up. Also, though, on the last show, Sergio, I said, okay, but watch out for that Wardley power. He had a near-perfect knockout ratio coming into this fight. And I saw, and I said this, I saw what Kevin Lorena almost did to Justice Huni in a fight a few fights ago, almost knocking him out in the 10th round. Well, in the 10th round of this fight, it was Fabio Wardley, way down on the scorecards, landing a picture-perfect counter right hand that knocked Justice Huni out. I'll give us both credit here, Sergio. We both kind of called this fight on the right side. But what did you think of what you saw and how the fight ended?
Don't pat yourself on the back, and you don't deserve credit. Power's power. Any blind person can say, "Oh, he has a high knockout ratio. He has."
No, but I brought up Lorena though. Like I said, I thought Huni was a little bit chinny. That was my point.
Inexperience. I don't know about chinny. Inexperience. I think he was an athletic fighter. He had an amateur pedigree. The guy had a tricky herky-jerky style. I made a career out of herky-jerky style and quick feet, quick punches. He just didn't have the experience. And as far as not taking a punch, whenever you're dealing with a massive power puncher like Wardley, no one's gonna have a chin. So I still don't buy the chinny part. Inexperience part, that I buy. When you're winning a fight so easily, I mean, he was winning easily. I only gave Wardley one round. I think it was like the second round. Other than that, it was all Justice Huni. He was winning. He was boxing. He was fighting. He invested to the body. He was tiring Wardley. All he needed to do was cruise, jab. He could have lost the last 2 rounds. He still would have won this fight. It would have been a massive upset, but it didn't happen because of lack of experience. Forget the chin. Lack of experience. And as far as the hometown curse, it goes to show you. Fabio Wardley, Ipswich, hometown curse, last-minute replacement. Everything was there for him, and he looked bad. Luckily, that power saved him. But trust me, he's gonna confront this again because he's a late starter. He got started in boxing late, man. And whenever you start boxing at 19, 20 years old, you're gonna get in this position again, and your power's not always gonna save you.
I agree. By the way, I saw your tweets on Fight Night. You were taking a victory lap in like the 9th round about the hometown curse. You were name checking Ipswich. You were ready to roll with that.
I don't know if you remember our last show. I said 9th round. I think it gets stopped. I think he's, but it was the 10th. Man, I've been calling him. Right. What can I say? People make money off me.
You make a good point on the experience part of it, and we've seen that be a factor in a couple of recent fights. A couple of weeks ago, the fight that you called, Darius Fulgham and Bektemir Melikuziev, it felt like Fulgham, like a year, 2 years from now, would have won that fight, would not have put himself in position in the final round to get knocked down, which ultimately cost him. Same thing with Justice Huni. Like, to me, he didn't modulate his style in that 10th round or in the final rounds, knowing he was up. He was still going for it. And he got caught in an exchange. Like, he was going to throw, I think, a left hand, and Wardley came back straight ahead with the right. That left hand for Huni was working all night long. That was a weapon for him in this fight. He was landing that consistently to the body, to the head. Like, Fabio Wardley, if we're being honest, looked cooked. He looked finished in that fight. Like, it just was academic if that Huni was going to win by a lopsided decision. But I give Wardley a ton of credit. Like, summoning the strength and having that power in the second half of fights. There's very few fighters that have it like that, Sergio. Like, Deontay Wilder was one of them. At any point of any time, he could get you. And Wardley, when he did the face-off with Justice Huni a few weeks ago, I remember this, he brought up Wilder and said, like, I just need to be perfect for 1 second. You got to be perfect for 12 rounds. That's all Wardley needed. 1 moment, 1 second to be perfect to knock Justice Huni out. I do think, and I think you were kind of alluding to this, there's probably a ceiling on Fabio Wardley. There's probably a level that he's going to get to. Like, it's somewhere above, what's his name, who just lost to Dave Allen? I'm blanking.
Johnny Fisher.
Johnny, somewhere above Johnny Fisher, but like below Dillian White, like a prime Dillian White.
Around there. And let me throw one more negative or conspiracy theory out there. It was a quick count. I counted it 3 times. That was an 8 count that this referee gave Hooney. That's not fair, man. In a fight that he's easily winning, that shows a little bit of favoritism. That shows a little bit of protecting the hometown fighter. That was an 8 count, and they counted it out, man. That was one of the fastest counts I've ever seen. I counted it 3 times. That was an 8 count, and they stopped the fight. So many things went wrong for Hooney, and so many things went right by luck and by politics and by hometown favoritism. But Fabio Wardley escaped this with the hairs of his chinny chin chin and the big power. But he better not get comfortable, because he's going to be in this position once again, and he might not get lucky again.
You're probably right. It probably was a fast count. I didn't see any protest, though, from Hooney afterwards. And even when he was on his feet, it looked like he was on shaky legs there. So maybe it was just academic at that point. I just think Fabio Wardley's power at this level is real. I don't know who you match him up with next. Maybe you do put him in with the Deontay Wilder. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but there's a level to him. Like when he gets to that championship level, he's going to have some problems because he's going to get outboxed, and that power is not going to save him. One of the benefactors of the Keyshawn Davis meltdown this past weekend was benefactors. He benefited from, right? One of the people that benefited from the Keyshawn Davis meltdown was Abdullah Mason, the 135-pound prospect, now a contender. He stops Jeremiah, not Attila, keep saying that name wrong, gets a stoppage when he is now in the top 2 currently until the new WBO rankings come out. So he is in a position to fight for a world title, maybe in his next fight. Sergio, we've been hearing about Abdullah Mason for a while now. Kid out of Ohio, got a lot of talent. What did you think of Mason's performance? What kind of fight do you think he's ready for?
Man, I really like this kid, and I'm glad he got this opportunity, because I've heard the name before, but I've never studied him. I never had to call his fights. I've never watched his fights. All right, so this is an opportunity, and I know I'm not the only one on that hasn't seen him. He got the opportunity of a lifetime, and he shined. I really like Mason, man. I was like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? I thought the same thing when I started watching Brian Norman Jr. I'm like, who is this kid? And he's a champion. Yeah, man, I really like Abdullah Mason, man. Not only does he have a unique name, but he has power. He's tall. He has very long arms, and he's a pressure fighter. He has everything that people want to invest in. Promoters, fans. He's going to be an exciting fighter in an exciting weight division, man. I like this kid, Mason. The opportunity was there, and he shined, man. He really shined. He took care of business, and I really like the fact that he handled the interviews afterwards. They were trying to goad him on to try to badmouth Davis, and he was like real cool about it. I think he had an A+ performance and a great coming out party. I'm a big fan of Mason, just like I was a big fan of Davis, by the way. Just like last year when you asked me about Keyshawn Davis, I was praising him. I was telling you actually how high the ceiling is, how he's going to be a star, and sure enough, his character set him 5 steps back, like you said. Well, Mason just got 5 steps forward.
This is a good win. Nakatila is not world level, but he's on that next level below it, and that's the kind of guy that Abdullah Mason needed to face at this point. He's improving, it feels like, every single fight, and one of the things I really like about him is that when he sees a guy's hurt, he goes for it. Like, he's got this nose for guys in trouble. Like, it's impressive. And I think that's going to make him a really talented fighter, a really good fighter at multiple weight classes. He's got the size. Like, he's at 135 right now. Like, it will just be a matter of years until he's at 147, all the way up those ranks. So I love what I saw from him. Speed, power, ring IQ, whole bunch of positive characteristics. As far as what's next, like, he could fight for a world title next. Like, Sam Noakes right now is ranked number 1. Sam Noakes is a British fighter, undefeated, 17-0, 15 knockouts. Some good domestic wins on Sam Noakes' resume. He's kind of the Abdullah Mason of the UK, where he's fought some good guys, got some good wins, picked up some really impressive knockouts. Like, he's a strong puncher at 135. I think that's a really interesting fight for boxing fans. And I think it's a fight Top Rank would probably make if it came to it. I still worry a little bit, Sergio, about maybe a guy like Mason needs one or two more mid-level ex-contender fights, because we're really just a year removed from that Johan Vasquez fight in 2024 where Mason got dropped twice in the first round by a journeyman in Johan Vasquez. So there's still part of me that wonders if he needs a little bit more time. But hey, if you're ordered to fight for a vacant title and the opponent across from you is Sam Noakes, you probably don't turn that down, right? You probably take that fight every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Mason's a pressure fighter. He is a guy that always goes looking for the knockout, and he has a high knock-on ratio because of it. I think he's ready now. He's always going to get hit. He's going to be one of these fan-friendly fighters that I tell you about, where he goes for the knockout, but he's vulnerable to getting knocked down or even knocked out. People love watching guys like that. Paul Williams type, a tall guy that's a pressure guy who doesn't use his height, his length, his strengths. He goes looking for the knockout. So, yeah, man, he's going to be vulnerable to looping shots, to punchers, to guys with experience. But he's going to be an exciting fighter. He probably won't have a long career because of that exciting style, but it's going to be exciting while it lasts. It's going to be lucrative, and he's going to get a lot of chances early because of it. So I think he's ready. I think he's ready for a title shot.
All right. So August 16th, there will be no Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney fight. That fight is, for now, in the rearview mirror. But there will be a big card in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. 3 fights were announced by Ring Magazine this week, the outlet owned by Turki Al-Sheikh. Top of the bill is a heavyweight matchup between Dillian Whyte and Moses Itauma. Nick Ball will defend his featherweight title against Sam Goodman. And Ray Ford, our guy, Raymond Ford, will face Anthony Kakachi in a 130-pound fight. So those are the 3 that we know about right now, Sergio. Which of these 3 interests you the most?
Well, first of all, it's a damn great card as always, because Itauma already stepping up to fight a gatekeeper, a tough guy, a guy who's on a streak, on a winning streak in Dillian Whyte. That's exciting. And of course, everyone likes the heavyweights, but I got to go with Ray Ford, man. I got to go with our boy, Ray Ford. And I'm telling you right now, Anthony Kakachi is on a roll. He's one of these guys that punches harder than his knockout ratio indicates. He's a southpaw, and he's facing another southpaw in Ray Ford. So it's kind of a puncher boxer versus a boxer puncher in Ray Ford, and it's southpaw versus southpaw, which is always can be tricky. They're not accustomed to facing each other. This is just another notch on Ray Ford's belt, man. What a resume he's building. What a resume Ray Ford is building. But also Kakachi is on a roll, man. He's been knocking out, Lee Wood. He came back and knocked out Cordina. He had that fight against Warrington. He's on a roll too. So I think momentum is on the side of Kakachi, and Ray Ford, he's a beast right now. So I think that's the fight of the night.
I agree with you. Raymond Ford is on kind of a remarkable journey here. I know he's getting paid a lot to fight in Riyadh, just like he did against Nick Ball, but to take on Anthony Kakachi in what is effectively a non-title bout is really impressive. He fought Thomas Matisse moving up to 130 in a non-title bout. That's a tough fight for a guy making his debut at 130, and Raymond Ford made it look easy. Now he gets Kakachi, who is really on a roll going into this fight. Those last 3 wins that you mentioned, Cordina, Warrington, Wood, 2 of them coming by knockout. This guy is hot right now. And now Raymond Ford is going to go in there with no title on the line. Good bag of money, I'm sure, but no title on the line. That's really impressive for Raymond Ford. He has come a long way over the last few years and really put himself in position, not just to be a very wealthy young man because he's making a lot of money for these fights, but to quickly become someone that we're going to talk about top 10 pound for pound. He lost that fight to Nick Ball. That was fair, reasonable, close fight. He lost. But, you come back. If you beat a guy like Kakachi, maybe you fight and beat someone like Sugar Nunez in the next time out. All of a sudden, you're talking about big things for Raymond Ford. Not to discount Kakachi here. Kakachi surprises me every single time he gets in the ring. Every time. I didn't think he was going to beat Joe Cordina. He did. I thought he'd beat Josh Warrington. Didn't think he was going to beat Lee Wood. Knocked out Lee Wood. Too big, too strong, too physical. Kakachi's a very good fighter. I love that fight. I do not love the Itauma fight for Dillian Whyte, Sergio. That's not going to end well. that fight is not going to end well for Dillian Whyte. Moses Itauma is trained by Ben Davison. Ben Davison, one of the smartest minds in boxing. Ben Davison, in the training camp for this fight, might just have Moses Itauma throwing uppercuts. That's it. Because every fight that Dillian Whyte loses, he gets clipped with an uppercut. Anthony Joshua got him. Tyson Fury got him. Alexander Povetkin got him. Yeah, they all get him with uppercuts. And you know Itauma, with that training staff behind him, is going to be working hard on that shot. You know, Dillian Whyte's a name. That's why Itauma's going through with this fight right now. But it's not going to end well for Dillian. It's not. This is a tough fight for him, Sergio.
It's not going to end. It's not going to end right for him, but he deserves this fight. He deserves this payday. He deserves a main event. Like I said, he's on a 4-fight win streak. He has a name. He's always in great fights. He comes up short against champions. We're going to find out if Moses Itauma is championship material in this fight, because Whyte is the goods. Even at this age, even at this stage of his career, the man could fight. The man could fight, and there's going to be the biggest name on Itauma's resume. And if he can get a knockout, like you think it's going to happen, then I think we have the next future heavyweight champion and heavyweight star in Moses Itauma.
You keep saying that Whyte's on a roll, and officially he has won 3 fights in a row, but the Jermaine Franklin fight was back in 2022. He had a positive drug test in between. And did you watch his last fight against Ebenezer Teta? That was the definition of a slobber knocker. 2 guys that weighed, I'm looking at it right now, Whyte weighed 261, which was the highest he's been since the Marius Vok fight. And Teta weighed, I think, 247.
All right, can you name another 3-fight streak that he's been on in the past when he got big opportunities? That's better than the one he's on now?
Well, yeah, because going into...
Name it. You have a resume in front of you? I looked at it already.
Going into the Fury fight, well, he did knock out Povetkin. Going into the first Povetkin fight, which was back during the pandemic, he had wins over Walk, Oscar Rivas. That was a good win. Knocked out Derek Chisora. That was a highlight reel. Beat Joseph Parker. Like that to me is a streak. You beat Parker, Chisora, Lucas Brown, that list, Rivas, who was undefeated at that time, Walk, who still had a little bit left in the tank at that time. That to me is a streak. 3 wins in 3.5 years or whatever it is not to me a streak.
Whatever the word under streak is, that's where Dillian Whyte is. But you know who winning. Isn't a streak? Derek Chisora. These are 2 names. These are 2 names that are on a streak. All right. So both these guys deserve and earned a big heavyweight payday. So I think it's a streak. You don't think it's a streak, but they deserve a big payday because of the wins that they've been piling up.
Well, he's definitely going to get that. He's definitely going to get a big payday for this fight. I just think there's going to be a price to be paid for that. And that is winding up on the wrong side of Moses Itauma, who I think is really, really friggin' good. All right, Sergio, you got 3 days to pack your bags, baby. Off to New York, the city that never sleeps, anticipating your arrival in New York City.
Thank you very much. And you know who needs sleep? You, man, because you look tired, hungover, beaten up. You look terrible. I advise everyone to watch the video footage here because Chris Mannix is hungover.
It's great. 2 weeks ago, you called me fat on the show, and now you're calling me ugly and tired. I do appreciate your honesty in all this.
But you're a hard worker, Chris Mannix.